Hello there, and welcome to Tea with Michael Ray. On last week's show, you may remember that our maid, Brenda Sue, disappeared, and we found out via a singing telegram that she'd been kidnapped. The inspector here came along to ask some questions and arrested Verna, my next-door neighbor. Well, she's still out on bail, but she still won't speak to me. This place has been absolutely teeming with reporters anxious to get the full scoop on what happened to our beloved Brenda Sue. The inspector here has come along tonight to fill us in on the latest details of the case. So, Inspector, what's happening?
I was nowhere near that place. Honestly, we're just friends. Oh, are we on? Was I snoring? What did I say?
You're about to tell us about the progress of your investigation. Would you like some tea before you begin?
No thanks, Michael. I'm on duty. The investigation, yes. Well, while Brenda Verona remains the primary suspect in the investigation, I can assure you that we're following up on every possible lead. Just last night, for instance, I received an anonymous telephone tip that the perpetrators would be attending a performance of an all-male musical adaptation of Sophocles' The Trojan Women. Acting upon this tip, I infiltrated the cast and secured the lead role. And by the way, Michael, I got some very good notices, as a matter of fact. Bruce Bebb of The Hollywood Reporter had this to say. An otherwise mundane performance of the musical version of Sophocles' The Trojan Women was enlivened by the sometimes inexplicable performance of Virgil Callahan, who, while sporadically appearing to forget his lines and substitute the phrase, "Wait a minute," achieved an overall effect of high camp.
But, Inspector, what does this have to do with the case?
Well, I'm getting to that, Michael. You know, not everything is as simple as it appears to be on the surface.
Good evening, Inspector. Michael, I believe that these are yours.
Thank you. I was kind of wondering where I left those.
My, you two are on better terms than you were last week.
Well, while initially we were thrust together under such adverse circumstances and forced to endure many long, hot, sweaty hours together, I found that underneath this cold exterior was an even colder interior. But as I got to know her better and we became friends, I found this woman to be a virtual hotbed of passion, a virtual tigress.
Virgil, I thought everything I told you while handcuffed to that chair with that naked light bulb shining in my eyes would remain our little secret.
Oh, well, of course it is, my dear. But there's just one thing I've got to know.
Yes?
Was it as good for you as it was for me?
I'll know in an hour when I pick up the photos.
Oh.
I can feel my Nielsen's rising here. I didn't mean that. Estelle, what changed your mind about the inspector?
Well, as we got to know each other, we found out we had many things in common, like photography,
Drinking,
dressing up,
handcuffs,
eating out,
discipline.
photography. And Michael, you might not know it, but Virgil here is one of the Monterey Callahans. But really, the real reason is that I personally have quite a weakness for a man with a large gun.
Estelle, let's get the tea together as we're expecting Roscoe O'Brien, the famous Hollywood agent to the superstars, my agent.
Roscoe O'Brien, I forgot. Oh, I have to go.
Well, what does he have that I don't have?
Well, specifically, the power to make a girl a star, namely, moi.
What about all those promises you made last night?
Virgil, promises are made to be broken.
What about all those sweet nothings you whispered in my ear?
That's why they're called sweet nothings. But remember, Virgil, things aren't always as simple as they seem on the surface.
So, Inspector, do you have any other revelations you'd like to share with us, or are you just here to promote your Hollywood career?
Well, I guess it's time to get a bit serious here, Michael. As I said, while conducting the investigation in this interim week, as I was, I was staking out a little place near the corner of Hollywood and Western. And I discovered a shop where you can get 100 8x10s with your name on them for less than $35. So I just happened to bring a few along in case they were needed to be passed out here tonight.
What about Brenda Sue?
She'll have to get her own photograph. Incidentally, I received another anonymous telephone call this morning. informing me that the kidnapper would announce his or her identity on this television program this very evening. So if you don't mind, I'll just stick around and meet this so-called agent.
Hey!
Wait a minute.
Mike!
Wait a minute, there's something very peculiar going on here.
What is it now?
That man, there's a man outside your French windows. He's yelling something, and apparently, he's not properly mic'd.
Well, we are looking for a new audio man. Maybe that's him now.
Mike! Mike!
Will someone get that man a mic? Oh, goodness. It could be the man who burst in on David Horowitz. We'll be right back to hear what he has to say right after our sponsor says what he has to say.
War, venereal disease, child molestation, murder, accidents, leprosy, toe jam, PMS, rape, disease, mental illness, treason, divorce, arson, bound feet, the moral majority, a slight case of gangrene, kidnapping, natural disasters, paraquat, parachutes that don't open, religious heretics, bad nose jobs, smelly socks, low ratings, rigor mortis, chili burgers. All these things are bad for you, whereas water is good for you. Water. If cleanliness is next to godliness, then water is 2/3 of the earth. Water, the official bathing fluid of the 1988 Olympic Games. Water. Don't leave home without it.
Welcome back. Well, things are really developing here. As it turns out, the gentleman knocking on my French windows was none other than Billy Joe Jim Bob. Now, Billy Joe Jim Bob claims to be an acquaintance of Brenda Sue's. Billy Joe Jim Bob, do you mind if I call you BJJB for short?
Yeah, unless you say it backwards.
Okay, BJJB. Tell us what you know about Brenda Sue.
It was terrible. It was awful. The worst week of my life.
Why, what happened? Is Brenda Sue all right?
Brenda Sue, she's fine and dandy. I'm the one who suffered. She drove me crazy, waking me up at 5 o'clock in the morning just to talk. Talk, talk, chat, chat, gab, gab, blab, blab, sing, sing.
Sing, sing. That's where you're going to go, Buster, if you don't get to the point.
Not to mention the food. She'd feed me things that I can't even mention on television. Food you wouldn't feed a begging rat.
Oh, they're very cute when they do that.
Stuff that the garbage pail kid wouldn't touch. Food that was so gross, even the cat left home. And every time I'd bring home a six-pack, she'd read the riot act to me. After every brewski, she'd force her grandpappy's recipe down my throat. Ugh, you ever had that stuff? Bromo seltzer, raw eggs, Tabasco sauce, and God knows what else.
Yes, yes, we know all about that.
But you know, Michael, the original idea I had when I kidnapped her
Aha! So, you openly and unashamedly admit that you kidnapped her. You have the right to remain silent.
You know, I told her that several times. She wouldn't listen.
You have the right to an attorney.
Would he have the authority to make her shut up?
If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be provided for you.
Shouldn't we hear what he has to say first?
Well, all right. But anything he says can and will be used against him.
Okay, so, BJJB, are you saying that you know Brenda Sue's whereabouts are?
Yes, yes, she's out in the van. She's been driving me up the wall. That's why I drove her back here before she drove me out of my mind. You see, at first it seemed like such a romantic idea. Driving off into the sunset back to Kingdom Come, Kentucky. The little woman tucked safely under my wing. But then I got to thinking, what's in Kingdom Come that I can't find within a 10-mile radius of Hollywood and Vine? You know, the glitter, the glamour, the glory, the girls, the gold, all the big G's.
Don't you mean big cheese?
No, big G's, as in hundreds of thousands, and that's what I plan to make. Well, how in tarnation am I going to be a movie star if I'm tied down to Brenda Sue? You know, Michael, she wants 10 kids, and we're not even Catholic. I don't care if I have to go to jail. Just don't make me take her back.
There you are, you rapscallion. I was watching your show, Michael, when I realized Brenda Sue was locked up out in that van out there.
Oh, this is my next-door neighbor, Verna Verona.
I walked right over and untied her. She's in the ladies' room now, gathering her wits about her.
That shouldn't take but about 5 seconds.
Hold on, Buster. Do you have any idea what you put me through? Oh. Because of your little prank, I was arrested on television, humiliated in front of hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of people. And that's not all. Look at this. My picture on the cover of Star Smut magazine.
Oh.
Look, it's not even a good picture.
Oh, it's not that bad, Verna. Mother gives birth to alien lesbian sextet. Do you mind if I keep this one?
Oh, no, I've got about 50 more copies at home. You know, this entire ordeal makes a weekend with the twins seem like a weekend with the twins.
It couldn't have been that bad. Women's prisons are quite luxurious compared with men's.
Michael, they were bulldogs. They kept whistling at me, yelling out obscenities, calling me their little chihuahua. They were worse than men, Michael. They kept forcing me to eat chocolates, and they were only interested in one thing: gardening tips. I just wanted to go home, and they kept calling me a real mother. How do you suppose they knew that?
Well, how's Vern taking all this?
Oh, he's happy as a clam. Not only has business picked up by 5,000%, but he's selling a video of the arrest and the incarceration. He's also making a music video of the entire ordeal. It's going to star Twisted Sister and Lawrence Welk. You know, sometimes his aesthetic sensibilities just amaze me. He thinks we're going to make a bundle on this. We may even sue the police department for false arrest.
Well, we work this out. Take a look at this message, and we'll be right back. And so hopefully we'll Brenda Sue. See you then.
You should see these videos, though. You look good. You look good in the videos.
Do you need a breather? Are you tired of smoky restaurants, smoggy streets? Does hoary halitosis have you hiding your head in horror? Well, the Urban Survival Shop has just what you need, the Elegas mask. Why, no self-respecting urban terrorist would be caught dead without one. Whether you're surviving police tear gas, nuclear fallout, or peeling onions, it's the latest rage. It's the elegance of survival. Always in vogue. Only $19.95 and available in 2 styles. Hers and his. Elegas, the glamour mask. It's a gas. It's a gas.
Oh, welcome back. Brenda Sue's back, and so tell us what we're all waiting to hear, your side of the story.
Well, where do you want me to begin?
At the beginning.
I was born at the age of 5 in a coal mine that no longer exists.
Not that far back, Brenda Sue. What about the kidnapping?
Well, Billy Joe, Jim Bob, and I have been childhood sweethearts ever since we were teenagers, and he never liked the idea of me coming out to Hollywood. Anyway, not until last night when he suddenly up and changed his mind.
What about the kidnapping, Brenda Sue?
As I was saying, Billy Joe, Jim Bob, never wanted me to leave home. You see, I just went outside the house to get a pack of cigarettes and wound up meeting Shirley, and she got me the job on Tea with Michael Ray, and the rest, of course, is showbiz history.
Brenda Sue, the kidnapping.
Well, Billy Joe, Jim Bob just couldn't get over me. He said I was a festering wound in his heart. He searched every liquor store in Knott County and every cigarette machine on Main Street for months. And then one day, he saw my picture in the local newspaper, the Kingdom Come Chronicle, calling me the Vanna White of talk shows. Then and there, he made up his mind to come and get me.
In other words, he wants you back.
Well, I think he wants me back. He just doesn't know it for sure right now.
That's not his side of the story, Brenda Sue.
What have you been telling Mr. Ray after I promised to get you on the show? He's become quite enamored with Hollywood. He says we could be the next Madonna and Sean Penn, and that's why he's trying to get himself arrested.
I was in Hollywood for 10 years, and I couldn't get arrested.
Well, he also says if that doesn't work, we could be the next George Burns and Gracie Allen. And if that doesn't work, we could be the next Peter, Paul, and Mary.
What about the kidnapping?
What? You want to hear about the kidnapping?
Yes!
Well, you see, he's such a romantic. It was his idea for us to elope last week. And then he got to thinking, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? He says you can have your cake and eat it too. In other words, he's gone Hollywood on me. While Billy Joe, Jim Bob, you just sort of stomped on my heart and you mashed that sucker flat. You just sort of stomped on my aorta.
Is that a country and western song?
Well, it's sort of a work in progress. I'm thinking about writing something about my kidnapping. I believe Tammy Wynette wrote one about hers, but mine will have a different twist.
Sure.
Excuse me, but, could someone tell me if the press conference is over with or what? I mean, I'm supposed to come out here. I drove all the way from Thousand Oaks to cover some alleged kidnapping, and then when I get here, I see all these reporters leaving. And so, what am I supposed to think but that you have gone ahead with the press conference without me? And if you have, then you're really going to have to help me out here, because my editor says that I have to come back with a tremendous scoop or I am history. And, that can't happen, you know what I mean?
Excuse me, miss, we're in the middle of Tea with Michael Ray.
Tea! I'll go make some.
Oh, God, I would love a cup. Something herbal, maybe, if you've got it. Who is the beefcake?
I beg your pardon?
Oh, never beg. It's really demeaning. Are you the bogus kidnapper that I've been hearing about on the news? Oh, my God! This is, incredible! Would you do me, the most humongous favor? Could you, give me an exclusive interview? I could call it something like, Hunk on the Run. We will be everywhere, all over the newspapers. I'm talking front pages, pictures, the works.
Hey, this just might be my big break.
No, your big break's about to walk in the door. In fact, it could be a big break for all of us. I really do have to bring out my first guest now. So please welcome my own personal agent, Roscoe O'Brien.
Hey, thank you. No applause. Just throw blank checks. Hey, Mikey, babe, you are looking fab. What's shaking, baby? Go for old Roscoe, will you?
Hello, Roscoe.
Hey, how you doing?
Welcome to the show.
Hey.
Haven't seen you for a long time. How you been?
What a kidder. I love this guy. Yeah, well, what are you talking about, Mike? We just had a chat yesterday when you invited me on the show. A gig I got for you. And by the way, waived my normal 20%. How big guy, huh?
Yes, you did. But I'd like to point out that nobody gets paid for this gig, as you call it.
What a sweetheart deal, huh? Think of the tax dollars I'm saving you every year. So don't let anyone tell you that Roscoe O'Brien don't give 110% for each and every one of his over 6,000 clients. I'm out there hustling and scraping 4 hours a day, 2 days a week, 1 week a month, every other month. I love myself. What a great guy.
Roscoe, I'm sure my audience would like to know, as I would, what's on my horizon. What projects are rising and setting with me in mind?
You mean like a job? A real job?
Yeah, anything in the works for me?
Well, let me put it this way, Mikey. You're a hot property right now, like sizzling, babe, know what I mean? A lot of people are talking. They're pretty excited.
Great. So what am I auditioning for next? What is it, television or films? Where's my fortune going to be made, Roscoe?
Let me tell you this, Mikey. TV, nowheresville, man. Dinara land. You know what I mean? All the episodics are on hiatus, so no one's hiring right now. But the minute they're back to shooting, I'll be right there. Giving them an earful for you, I'll tell you. Trust me on that one.
But what about films? Surely they're still making movies.
What a kidder, I love you. Yeah, they got a couple of pics lensing right now. Nothing worthy of your enormous talent, however. But, hey, I had a 4-picture deal working with you for Slander Films. I'm talking box office magic, babe. Boffo vehicles from the word go.
4 pictures? Slander Films? Boffo?
You bet. And all the big names were scheduled to work with you. I'm talking Spielberg, Beatty, Nicholson. They're all clamoring for a piece of you.
So, Roscoe, when do I begin?
Well, that's the bad news, babe. It all kind of bottomed out this morning, sorry to say. I was talking 8-digit figures. And those losers were only willing to go 6. Can you believe that? I said, no way. My Mikey don't come packaged unless the ribbon reads 8 digits. Because you don't need peanuts, babe. You're not an elephant. I love this guy. So I'm telling all you riffraff produce out there, this man is a professional. And he doesn't work unless the salary is 8 digits. I done you good, boy. I done you good.
But Roscoe, 6 digits, that's a lot of zeros.
Babe, there's a lot of zeros everywhere in this business, huh?
But 6 figures of celery, that's a lot of green to have with my daily salads.
Mike, don't do this to yourself, okay? Don't grovel, all right? Look, you're gonna hit soon, I promise. Give it time, okay? Your name is gonna be a household word. It's gonna be right up there with Drano. Trust me on this one, big guy. I won't let you slip through the cracks, okay? Huh? Whoa, Mikey, look at the time. I gotta fly. I'm winging into Gotham tonight for confabs at Elaine's.
But Roscoe, we just begun our chat. I want to ask you about so many...
Mike, I'd love to sit here and shoot the breeze with you forever, but unfortunately I got projects to put to bed and dames to go into turnaround, or maybe it's the other way around. I never remember.
But Roscoe, there's so much...
Mike, I'll call you, okay? Don't be a rash. I mean, you're not yet, as we say, a lucrative client, okay? Trust me on this one.
Excuse me, Mr. O'Brien, but your flight to New York has been canceled. But if you book 90 days in advance, you'll still get the discount fare.
Good.
Well, that's great. So there's lots more questions I want to ask you. Tell me what's happening as far as show business is concerned, the ins and outs.
Sex appeal. It's one of the most marketable commodities today. You know what I mean? I'm talking sex appeal.
Wouldn't I look great as a stewardess? Coffee, tea, or me?
I'm saying bitchiness is in,
What a dump.
coupled with a certain quality of helplessness.
Oh, Red, what shall I do? Where shall I go?
Mikey, are you going to tell her or am I going to have to? Because you know, star quality is an elusive entity. When you got it, you got it.
And when you don't, you don't.
Well, I have been told that I can make even the names in the phone book sound sexy.
Fab. The second I get the gig for a sexy phone book reader, I'll give you a ring. You know, Mikey, as I was saying before I was interrupted, futuristic sex appeal. That's what's in vogue today.
Estelle, phone home. Beam me up, Scotty.
Better yet, beam her out, Scotty.
Parting is such sweet, sweet, sweet sorrow. So I'll say adieu till we meet again, which will be sooner than tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow.
Great. Little Orphan Annie. I love it.
Stop it.
Hey, you two kids have representation? How would you like to be the next Madonna and Sean Penn? Tell you what, here's my card. Give me a call, huh?
Rascal O'Brien, a gent to the stars.
Great reading. Better yet, don't give me a call. You might have trouble dialing the phone. Tell you what, come out with me now. We'll talk in the car, okay?
I'm gonna be a boy toy.
Mikey, I gotta slide on through. Ciao.
We'll be right back to hear what our sponsor has to say after this message. Or something. Well, we're back with the inspector and my attorney, Howard Weisenheimer, of the law firm Weisenheimer and Vito. It seems that Billy Joe Jim Bob is off the hook, legally speaking, but the inspector still wants to arrest me for filing a false police report, and we're still trying to work out this little dilemma. Howard?
Well, as it turns out, I happen to represent both Billy Joe Jim Bob in this little matter of an alleged kidnapping and Verna Verona in a potentially lucrative suit against the police department for false arrest. Me and the inspector were able to work it out.
Okay. So I agreed to drop all charges against Billy Joe Jim Bob, and you guaranteed that Verna Verona is not going to sue my badge off. But that still doesn't let Ray off the hook here.
Gee, I'm sorry you're taking that attitude. As it happens, I also represent Mr. Ray here.
Yeah, so what?
And my good friend, the Commissioner of Police, is a big fan of the program.
So what are you driving at?
Well, Lieutenant Callahan, do I have to draw you a picture?
No, that's inspector. I'm only an inspector.
Not since that phone call to the Commissioner during the last break. Congratulations, Lieutenant.
Well, I don't know what to say. But surely you're not suggesting that I let this man go simply because you did me a little favor.
The Commissioner is such a fan of the program, he also authorized a retroactive pay raise. And hey, don't ever call me Shirley.
Well, maybe I was a little bit hasty, you know? But wait a minute. What's your angle in all of this?
I'm going to represent both you and Michael in the book deal.
Book deal?
What
book deal?
Are you kidding? This kidnapping deal could be bigger than Fatal Vision, bigger than Helter Skelter. And of course, there's a film rights.
Film rights?
Well, they're going to need someone to play the inspector. And someone to interview the stars. And of course, we'll have our usual 15% arrangement. 15% for Michael, 15% for Lieutenant Callahan, and the balance for me. You know, Michael, I think that my success in resolving these tricky legal questions without firing a shot, so to speak, showcases my potential to be a judge. I think if this dork gets approved to the Supreme Court, I'm going to apply for the job that he leaves open.
Well, if I was assembling a team of judges, I'd certainly want you on the bench.
You know, Michael, I've got one more official duty I'd like to perform before I leave. I'd like to get Ms. Conrad on the floor.
I'm sure you would, Inspector, but don't you think you should wait till after the show?
Did someone mention my name,
Yes.
Lieutenant?
I'm afraid I'm going to have to take you in.
What for? I didn't do anything.
Are you kidding?
No.
Enticing a police officer? Distributing pornographic literature? And worst of all, you made a pouty mouth.
But you took those pictures.
Yes, you're right. That's right. You're right. That makes me an accomplice. So I'm going to have to handcuff myself. Miss Conrad, we're under arrest.
No.
I might let you off with as few as 5 or 10, but one thing's for certain. You're going to get a good spanking.
Oh, I will.
Oh, yeah, count on it.
Well, it'll never hold up in court. But that's not really where it counts.
Well, it seems that everyone's getting something out of this dreadful situation, except Brenda Sue.
My mammy didn't raise no fool. I'll get mine. Don't you worry about me.
Brenda Sue, I realize you have an axe to grind, but don't you think this is taking things a little bit too far?
No, as my grandpapa used to say, turnabout's fair play, and I say I'll get my man, and I'll get him my way. I may be crazy, he may be free, nothing's forever, he's gonna love me. Can't help hog-tying that man of mine. He may go far, become a superstar, as long as there's rope, I'll always have hope. Can't help hog-tying that man of mine. Da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da.
From the cutting room of television comedy, this has been another episode of Tea with Michael Ray.